Hi! Welcome to this Speedbuild video. Today I'm renovating an apartment in the fashion district. It's for Gloomy Sim, as you could probably tell by the thumbnail. It's for Gloomy Sim. I've been feeling gloomy, so I thought, you know what, let's make an apartment suiting my mood. So the first thing I thought of was to get a really comfy looking bed, because that sounds great to spend all day on this bed. Oh my god, spend all day in this soft looking bed. I love that. But I ended up using this one from Businesses and Hobbies, I think. Yeah. But anyway, the first one close to the window, I like it. I didn't like the swatches that much. I put windows on this big ass window. Can I say that word? I don't know. This big window, because I wanted the place to look really dark and, moody. And I imagined this sim just spending a bunch of time in their bedroom. I put a computer and a TV. What else can you want? There's a bed that looks so soft. But yeah, I did it like that. I also used a lot of warm tones, I guess, for this apartment. Like, this really dark wood really carries throughout the whole building. And yeah, those gold accents as well, I think those give some warmth, but also some dark academia vibes that I didn't really mind. I think it suited the situation I wanted to create. I love this Portrait TV. How cute is that? But for other colors, I used the cool ones, green and blue and purple. So maybe it balances it out. I don't know. Yeah, figuring out how to make this bedroom look small. I also pictured this sim having a cat, because I don't know, I really would like to have a cat. I've never had, actually, but it's low-key my dream. I just can't right now. But yeah, I think, this sim probably spends a lot of time inside their house, so maybe it's good to have a companion for them. Now I'm working on the studio. I made it an art studio because I was reading information about Gloomy Sims on the Sims wiki, like a nerd. And it says here, when sad, Gloomy Sims get this unique description. Gloomy Sims get some of their best ideas when they're sad. Try painting or writing a story. And it also says, if they engage in creative pursuits when sad, they get a skill boost, while being able to paint sad paintings or write sad books. So this got me confused. I didn't know if all creative pursuits, like creative skills, they would do better when they're sad, or if it's just painting and writing, because it's the Sims forum. I'm not surprised if they hadn't updated this for future pack, new skills that come from new packs. But to be on the safe side, but I don't think that's it's written here. I think, anyway, to be on the safer side, I just made an art studio, and I thought they could also write on their computer right next to their bed, right there in their bedroom. So the kitchen is honestly my favorite part of this build, because I don't know, it looks so great. I think these new counters that we got from base game a while ago go so well with the fridge and the stove from Life and Death. And also I loved how I could use this style. I'm not sure if it came with Enchanted by Nature or Life and Death. One of those, I feel like maybe Enchanted by Nature. But yeah, I use them. And I hardly ever get the opportunity to, because when I'm building houses, I usually put a window in the kitchen, and then it gets weird to use those when there are windows on the walls. So yeah, but doesn't the kitchen look so pretty? Like they match. I don't know, maybe it's too matchy for your taste, but I liked it a lot. Even though I don't feel like cooking is necessarily a big activity, a preferred activity, I must say, for Gloomy Sims. But you know what? I added a candy machine later, and that's totally a Gloomy thing, in my opinion, because when I'm gloomy, at least, all I wanted to eat is chocolate and candy and nothing healthy. So yeah, working on this living room was kind of tricky because I left myself with very little room to put a couch and make it look like a separate area without blocking the doors too much. But I also play tested this entire apartment, and everything works. What didn't work I changed after I stopped recording, but it's very minimal stuff, like the core stuff, so no drastic changes. Okay, so yeah, figuring out right now the wallpaper situation in the living room. I also changed the windows behind the TV, and it's sad to have windows behind the TV like this, because yeah, I would prefer to have put the TV somewhere else, but since it's a Gloomy Sim I'm making this apartment for, I didn't really mind because I had shutters anyway covering, yeah, as you can see now, covering the windows, so no big deal. More stuff for the cat. And this, I also have another thing to say about this build, is that this was my first time using tool mod and the OMSB shelf, and so I had to cut a lot of stuff out, especially from tool mod, because I was lazy and didn't want to see how it works, like a tutorial of it, so I just kind of had to figure it out on my own, but it went well. Yeah, creating some ambience. Another thing I did with this apartment is not to rely on those saucer lights that I usually love so much, especially when I'm playing the game, because you can see everything really well. But since this is for Gloomy Sim after all, I decided to play a little more with lighting to create a mood, and I think it works. But yeah, I promise I won't leave the apartment that dark as you saw there. Look, the kitchen has some great lighting. Working on the bathroom, it was a struggle for me because I didn't know how to make it look like it fit with the rest of the house. Bathrooms are so hard, I think, sometimes, because I didn't want it to look too bright. It's such a small space that I couldn't do much, in my opinion. And see, lovely combination of tiles, in my opinion, but I couldn't leave it like that because it's too bright. It's too bright. And the rest of the apartment is darker. So I ended up using this, the batu tiles. I'm sorry. It had to be done. So yeah, just darkening it up a little. Then I darkened it too much, and then I changed the doors because the handle was silver and everything was with gold accents in this build, so it made more sense. Yeah, the lighting is kind of crazy, and I think maybe I should have done something more like this right now, more of those dark, gloomy. But then I feel like no real person lives in a house that dark, like unless they're a vampire. I don't know, something like that. Like a real person would want some amount of light, right? They wouldn't. Maybe it's something that could really, I don't know, drive you kind of crazy to have like blue lights all the time, dark blue lights. I don't think it would be a nice place to live in. And since the sim is all about, in my mind, staying home, I thought it looked, yeah, it fitted. Okay, it worked out. I got some paintings from the gallery. Those are sad paintings, and yeah, I chose my favorites and put one above the bed and one on the entryway space. Also, I don't know if I said that, but in my mind, as I was working on this apartment, I was picturing Bob Pancakes living here for some reason. I know he has the gloomy trait, but also he's like a chef, and I don't know anything about, him painting or writing or stuff or anything like that. But, maybe in an alternative timeline, or after a possible divorce with Eliza, he, I don't know, became a Renaissance man, a sad Renaissance man. Yeah, adding some clutter because I did like the basic furniture pieces first, and then at the end I went in with the clutter just to do it all at once. I kind of preferred it doing it this way. I gave the Sim a lot of mugs in their bedroom because I used to do that a lot before I lived by myself. I just kind of collected, because right now my bedroom is really close to the kitchen, but before I somehow managed to have a collection of just cups everywhere in my room. I think that's a pretty universal experience. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're sad, but I feel like when you're sad, maybe you're more inclined for to do stuff like this. But add some realism to the space. I pictured that all the plants that the Sim has in here are plastic plants, but who knows? I guess they are, because Sims don't really tend to them, so I guess they could. I mean, they are whatever you think they are. Anyway, it's time to wrap up this rambling session for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like and a subscribe. Bye! Also, I don't know if you realized, but I left a milk card in one of the screenshots. Don't worry, I fixed it for the library, but let me know if you did spot it.